What if I told you that three ordinary-looking coins, a 1966 British sixpence, a 1966 U.S. quarter, and a 1973 U.S. quarter, could tell a powerful story about history, economic crisis, silver shortages, and the transformation of modern money? Most people would spend these coins without thinking twice, but collectors know something different. Every coin carries a story. Every date marks a turning point, and sometimes the smallest details can make the biggest difference in value. Today we're breaking down these three coins one by one. Their history, their composition, their rarity, and most importantly, what they're really worth. Let's begin. The 1973 Washington quarter continues the clad era that began in 1965. By 1973, America had fully adjusted to the new copper-nickel composition. Silver coins were now a thing of the past in circulation. The 1973 quarter looks almost identical to the 1966 version. Same Washington portrait, same eagle reverse, same clad composition. However, by the early 1970s, inflation was rising. The U.S. economy was shifting. Coin production increased dramatically to meet demand. Hundreds of millions of 1973 quarters were produced. This makes the coin very common. In circulated condition, it is worth 25 cents. In uncirculated condition, it may sell between $3 and $10. Only high-grade examples, such as MS-67 or above, bring stronger prices. Collectors also search 1973 quarters for mint errors. A rare and dramatic error could significantly increase value. But again, those are exceptions. The 1973 quarter represents stability in the new clad system. It reflects America adapting to economic change and rising metal costs. While it may not be rare or silver, it is part of a larger story: the modernization of U.S. currency. So what's the final truth? The 1966 sixpence is a historic British coin from the final years of pre-decimal currency. The 1966 quarter marks the transition away from silver in the United States. The 1973 quarter represents the normalization of the new clad coinage system. None of them are million-dollar treasures in normal condition, but together they tell a powerful story of economic change, metal shortages, and global currency evolution. And sometimes, understanding the story behind a coin is more valuable than the coin itself. The 1966 sixpence from the United Kingdom represents the final years of Britain's old monetary system, a system that had been in place for centuries. Before 1971, Britain did not use a simple decimal currency system like the United States. Instead, they used pounds, shillings, and pence. 1 pound equaled 20 shillings and 1 shilling equaled 12 pence. That means 1 pound equaled 240 pence. It was complicated, but it was traditional. The sixpence was equal to half of a shilling. It may not sound like much today, but during its time, it had real buying power. People used it daily for small purchases, transportation, newspapers, and more. It was a common but essential part of British life. The 1966 version features Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse side. This portrait shows a young queen during the earlier decades of her reign. For collectors, coins featuring early portraits of long-reigning monarchs always carry historical importance. The reverse side displays a detailed floral emblem representing the nations of the United Kingdom. A crowned design including the rose for England, thistle for Scotland, shamrock for Ireland, and leek for Wales. Now here's something many people misunderstand. Older does not always mean silver. Sixpence coins were made of silver before 1947. However, starting in 1947, the British government removed silver due to rising costs. The 1966 sixpence is made of copper nickel, not silver. That means it does not carry melt value from precious metal. But that does not make it worthless. Collectors value coins for condition, rarity, and historical significance. In circulated condition, a 1966 sixpence typically sells for $1 to $5. If it is in brilliant, uncirculated condition, meaning it has sharp details and no wear, it could reach $10 or slightly more. Another factor that affects value is toning. Natural toning over time can give the coin beautiful shades of blue, gold, or violet. Some collectors pay a premium for attractive toning. Although millions were minted, the 1966 sixpence represents the final 5 years before Britain decimalized its currency in 1971. That makes it part of the closing chapter of an ancient financial system. It may not be rare, it may not be silver, but it carries tradition, history, and the memory of a completely different economic era. Now we move to the United States in the 1966 Washington quarter, a coin born during one of the most dramatic changes in American coin history. To understand the importance of this coin, we must go back to 1964. Before 1965, U.S. quarters were made of 90% silver. But during the early 1960s, silver prices began rising sharply. People started hoarding coins for their metal value. The United States faced a major coin shortage. In response, Congress passed the Coinage Act of 1965. This law removed silver from circulating quarters and replaced it with a copper core layered with nickel. The 1966 quarter was part of this new clad era. That means your 1966 quarter is not silver. One quick way to check is to look at the edge. If you see a copper-colored stripe, it is clad. Silver quarters have a solid silver-colored edge. Another unique detail about the 1966 quarter is the absence of a mint mark. From 1965 through 1967, the U.S. Mint removed mint marks to discourage collectors from hoarding coins. So whether it was made in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, you won't see a mint letter. The obverse features George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. The reverse displays the iconic eagle with outstretched wings. It is a strong, patriotic design. In circulated condition, the 1966 quarter is worth face value, 25 cents. In uncirculated condition, it can range from $5 to $15 depending on grade. Coins graded MS 65 or higher by professional grading services can bring more. Collectors also search for mint errors. Double die errors, off-center strikes, and wrong planchet errors can dramatically increase value. Some rare error quarters from the 1960s have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. But in normal condition, this coin is common. Still, it represents the end of silver in everyday American change, a major historical turning point.